Hey guys, welcome to the Commander Lounge. Today in this video, I'm going to be going over different ways to build commander decks. Because I know a lot of you guys probably know there are a lot of ways to go at it, but these are mainly for new players and maybe people that recently got into it and they're kind of lost. Maybe they're playing too spiky or something like that, and they don't really understand how the format really is, or and most play groups are. Because I know it all depends on play groups with how a commander experience unfolds. But and I think a lot of people today are kind of getting lost in kind of building a bunch of like good stuff decks. And when I say good stuff, I mean like the people. I mean, it's kind of like a mix between good stuff and picking your favorite colors and just throwing all the good, all the best cards and magic into it, and not really putting their own, personality into the deck. Because I think that's probably one of the biggest things about Commander is that people love it so much. It's because you can kind of, you know, you can do it your own way. You can do so much with the Commander deck. And here's a list of some of the ways you can build. I mean, one of the biggest things is tribal decks. If you love elves, goblins, mirrors, like all that, you could find a general that is the type of creature you want to do tribal with, and then just build, just throw all your lords in and stuff like that, and build your tribal deck that way. Another one I got is pick a general. Pick the general you like the most. And that's the one I did for my first time. My first like real commander deck that I played, it was Krenko Mob Boss. And it kind of fell in between me just loving the commander and me loving the tribe goblins together, because some stuff on this list will kind of overlap each other. You will build some decks with both of these types of ways you decide to build your deck. But yeah, that was the first reason. I just fell in love with Krenko, and I was like, oh my god, he'd be insane, and he might get there in an aggro commander, goblin tribe. Even though I had to make him a complete, a hole to do that. So yeah, just a general that you like, just kind of. I mean, the only problem with picking a general you really like and then building a deck around it is that a lot of times it will get, depending, it really depends on the general, but a lot of times it will kind of turn into this almost like, it's like an auto build, like it builds itself kind of deck, like Nekusar. Like you could just, a lot of times the people that build Nekusar decks, all they got to do is look on the internet and stuff like that, and they'll be like, okay, well, I definitely need this. I definitely, some commanders don't run good without these automatic includes. Some decks, like half your deck's going to be, automatic includes that it kind of loses the essence of what commander is, where it kind of, you put your own creativity into your deck building. But that's why I don't think picking a I mean, I did it for my first time, and Borborygmos, I liked him even though it's mainly, my Borborygmos deck is mainly themed with Fight Club. But, I just loved how he looked with Fight Club. Like, with that's okay, but with some of the mechanics, you might want to be careful. Like, if you're doing, like, let's say, Sisay, or, any deck that pretty much builds itself, it's just not fun. You'll lose, you may have fun with it the first couple times you play it, but, I mean, then you'll just be like, you'll know the strategy of it too well, and be like, yeah, this did kind of build itself, and there's a lot of certain types of little niche cards that I like that I want to play with. So yeah, I mean, I'm not telling you not to do this. I mean, honestly, when it comes down to it, I mean, these are all viable ways to build decks. But yeah, so that was pick your general to build around, and then another really good one is just pick your favorite color combination. I think this is one that a lot of people do. Like, I mean, with my Krenko deck, red was my favorite color to play with. I loved Goblin Tribal, and I was so excited when I first saw the general. I fell in love with the general. So it was like Krenko was like its perfect little casing. It just was such a damn shame that the deck sucks when it's not broken. Like, it's absolutely boring to play with, because it meets all these criterias to make a fun you know, a great fun time in Commander, and then it just, because it was got like some of the tribal stuff, if it's not explosive enough for Commander, you guys might want to think about building something else, because with goblins, like, it's either you get there real quick, or you just sit there and you'll play little goblin after little goblin, and that's when you're not breaking the deck. And then if you break the deck, you'll have less people to probably play with in certain play groups. So yeah, so no, you know, the one that was pick your favorite color, which is a great one to do, I think. You know, I think a lot of people have their own color combinations that they're always hoping to play in drafts and pre-releases and stuff like that. So yeah, and the one of the second to last thing I have is good stuff decks. I heard this so many times I didn't really understand it at first in my you know local store. But good stuff decks is essentially a little bracket off of pick your favorite color. It's they'll pick their favorite color combination, and they won't even really like dive into what kind, putting your favorite cards, or finding interesting cards, or putting your type of own personality, your own kind of, because building a deck is kind of, in some ways it's like almost having an easel and a paintbrush. Like, you're free to be as creative as you want when you build your deck. But when you go the good stuff route, this is when you see a lot of decks online that are almost the exact same deck as, as the one you just built. Like my Krenko deck, how it is. There are a lot of decks out there that are built just like the Krenko I have. And there's, I'm not gonna lie, I did take some stuff off of, I did net deck some of the stuff off of there. Like, some of the stuff I already knew, though. It's like Thornbite Staff's absolutely amazing with Krenko and Kiki Jiki, and all that. But when you go the good stuff route, like, one, it's a spiky route to go, so you gotta need a spiky play group most of the time. And sometimes it's not exactly the best. Sometimes it's not even gonna be the most powerful thing, because I've seen, like, I saw one kid in my play group who had a, what was it? Was it Grand Arbiter? I don't know. It might have been Grand Arbiter. He loved blue white. Actually, no. I think it was the god Afara, because it was originally Grand Arbiter, but he got tired of being hated out of the game just for having Grand Arbiter. But nobody wants to be taxed for playing Commander. Nobody likes the tax man in Commander. But he changed to Afara, and he just turned it, like, he couldn't, I guess he couldn't afford a lot of the cards that he wanted, so he did he put a lot of proxies in it, and he just threw a lot of good stuff in the deck. And he wanted me to check it out and give him pointers on it. And I just told him, I was like, this is a good stuff deck. I was like, I don't know what you want to do, because sometimes you can get lost in the good stuff. Sometimes your strategy gets muddled up in all, like, I'm putting the best cards in this color and just hoping it works out. Sometimes it won't be the powerful deck. It will just be just a lot of good stuff, but it'll be a lot of stuff that strays away from, like, original strategies you're trying to do. So yeah, be careful with good stuff. Good stuff. I don't think I will ever. I mean, at the same time, some stuff, like in my Prosh deck, I could say I got a lot of good stuff in that deck, but I mean, I think it's just the balance of all the good stuff, because you want to put a lot of stuff that you're gonna have fun playing, and that's gonna wow people at the table. They're gonna see that and go, I've never seen that combination before, or what the hell is that card? That's the fun part of Commander, when they have that. And then, for my favorite way to build a Commander deck, it's to build a deck around a theme. I think, honestly, a lot of decks should do this. Most of my decks are built around a theme, except for Krenko, because Krenko's a douchebag. I love Krenko, but he's a douche. He's like that friend that you want that you can take in small doses. That's Krenko. But yeah, a theme deck, you can go anywhere. It's like my Barbarigmos deck that I have on this channel. That's a Fight Club theme deck. Which, yes, it's been done before. Which is weird. Before I knew it was done before, I just saw all these fight cards, and I was like, maybe I watched Fight Club a week before or something like that, and I was like, oh man, I want to do a Fight Club deck. And then, like, I think later on, on Star City Games, when I think Sheldon Menery was putting up an article, I saw that he had he had a Fight Club deck, and I was like, well, I mean, I know I'm not going to be the first to do that, but whatever. I mean, you're not going to be the first to do a lot in Magic. There's just so many people playing the game today. Don't worry about that. Just worry about building a deck that you're going to have fun with. Because a lot of the decks, especially if you're going a spiky route, you will have less fun in the long run playing it, unless you have a consolidated play group that you can have fun with. If you're just going to this, the local game store at night, meeting up with randoms, you're not going to have the greatest time with, with your spiky good stuff deck, or anything like that. But okay, back to theme deck. Theme deck is an amazing way to go. Like, you can go. There's so many ways to do theme decks, and they can be powerful. They can be spiky, or they can be casual. It's either way. Like I told you, my Fight Club. I even had one after my son was born. I had had Phoenix, God of the Deception, EDH deck. That was my general, and I built it around all the blue black humans in the multiverse that I wouldn't trust with my son. That's mainly all the sketchy blue-white cards. And there are a shit ton of blue-white humans that look sketchy on the card. Like, even the blue cards by itself. There are a lot of sketchy humans in this multiverse. A lot of people I wouldn't trust to watch my kid for like 5 minutes. And I built that deck, and it was actually also a, there was a sub-theme to it. It was, well, not sub-theme, well, kind of. But yeah, it was people I wouldn't trust with my son, human tribal deck. And the strategy, the way it won, like, I know a lot of you guys are thinking, so how do you win? Like, that doesn't sound too good. But I had a lot of different combinations to actually, of course, with Phoenix, I take it to the self-mill strategy, which your main win condition is the Laboratory Maniac. But you can also just do mass reanimation, with Living Death or something like that, to just get in with all your humans for so much. And you have that one guy in, I don't know if it was Theros or Journey into Nyx, that would, Devotion to Black, give all your, give each, target creatures, haste, and I think it was, not fear, but intimidate, I think it was. But yeah, it was a funny deck. I remember just sitting at the when I first built it, I went to my local game store. We sat around, and they got Phoenix, and they were watching a couple of the cards come out, and they're like, what is this deck? And I was like, I told them the name of the deck, and I was like, yeah, it's basically just people I wouldn't trust my son with, and in the Magic multiverse, and everybody, even the people that weren't playing with me at the table, the whole table just started laughing their ass off, because that's what you want. You don't want to sit there and just not talk and play like it's a tournament. It's not a tournament. It's supposed to be, social, interactive, fun time. Like, when I sit down, I see it as, dude, I'm just happy I found time, because especially with having a kid, you don't have much time to play Magic. So, like, sitting down, you're winning. You're just shuffling that deck and getting ready, even though sometimes shuffling a Commander deck can be a little annoying just because of how many cards there are. It takes so long sometimes. But yeah, those so theme. I've also, another theme that I did was, I never played it, but I had a 5-color Progenitus EDH deck where I literally just put, like, every time I would draft and win booster packs, I called it like the winner circle, Progenitus the winner circle limited or something like that. But anytime I won booster packs and like pre-releases or drafts, the deck that I played with in that tournament, I would pick a couple cards that really were like MVP spots, and I threw it into my Progenitus deck. And it's better doing it with 5-color, because you're not always guaranteed to play the color you want in draft, or, well, sometimes pre-release. Most of the times pre-release, you're gonna play the color you want. But yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. But I ended up taking that deck apart because I think I needed the sleeves or something. It was just taking up too much space, and I had, I didn't want to play it. It was more like a kind of like filing cabinet. My deck itself was like filing away cards that were like MVPs. But it was cool though, because every once in a while I'd pick, my EDH deck up and just not even play with it. Just look through it and just remember my draft experiences, and my pre-releases and stuff like that, and be like, oh man, that was, that did work in this, in this situation and stuff like that. So I think theme decks are probably the best way. I mean, no matter what, you can link this theme tribal, theme general you love. All these can be linked in together while building a deck. But when it comes down to it, I think good stuff you might want to stick away from, and depending on the play group and stuff like that. I think you should be worried about going the good stuff route. I mean, that starts with usually picking your favorite color combination, and then you'll be like, well, I want the best cards in my color combination. you shouldn't be playing with the best cards in the format, even though kind of Commander is, is a really powerful format. You should pick the cards that you know you're gonna have fun with and interact with. So yeah, kind of got off track of what I want to say before that, but whatever. Theme deck, in my eyes, most important. Without theme deck, group hug wouldn't exist. There would not be group hug in Commander without the opportunity to think of being like, I'm going to build a theme around it. It shows, just with group hug being in this format, it shows how non-competitive this game can be. Like, yes, there are some of those sneaky group hug decks that are like, yeah, we're drawing a bunch of cards, okay, I'm gonna deal you triple or quadruple the amount of cards you have in your hand and stuff like that. Like, there are some sneaky group hug decks out there, but and I'm actually thinking about building a group hug deck, and I'll put it on here when it happens. But I mean, I just want to shake the guy's hand who thought, I don't know who thought up group hug first, but I mean, it was genius. It absolutely, that strategy defines how this format should be. And yes, Commander, to all different people, is different things. It's competitive. It's not competitive. It's just a way to hang out. It's just you still want to win, but there's just so many ways to kind of file away different aspects of what Commander really is. You can't just put it into one term. Commander is a lot of things, and in different areas too, depending on where you live or where your local game stores are. It's going to be different. You're going to have more competitive in some places, more casual in the other. It just depends on where you're playing and stuff like that. Usually stuff like that really shapes you as a player when you get to that. You don't want to be the only spiky one in a group of casuals, because then no one's going to want to play with you. So I mean, a lot of times you have to adapt to these kind of situations. But yeah, so I'm going to run over it again. Different ways you can build your Commander decks if you guys kind of don't know what you want to do with building Commander. You can go the tribal route, just a general that you love in general. You can pick your favorite color combinations. You can build good stuff deck, I guess. And you can, the most important, I think, is have a theme. I think it's fun because it definitely puts that creativity that you even thought that route. Like, yes, it could have been done before, but you may pick cards that nobody's ever seen before, which is fun. So yeah, I hope this helps some of you guys, because I know a lot of times, like, it can be overwhelming in the beginning, especially if you're like just starting to join a local game store. You're seeing everybody play Commander, and you're just like, you don't have, like, some people get stressed out. They don't have enough of the good cards to put in there. Like, really, just don't worry about that. Just have fun, talk to people. Just, especially when you're first getting into it, try not to start out with playing with a whole bunch of spiky people. I know you can't tell who's spikes or not. Sometimes the generals will say it at the same time, but I mean, for the most part, you don't know what you're going to be getting into. I mean, some people can get absolutely turned off of Commander just by their first match with randoms, and you guys always got to think about the other players when it comes to new players. Like, if you see it, if the guy says, "Hey, I'm new, this is my first time," don't slam down Krenko, don't slam down Sisay, don't slam down all those good generals, don't slam down Derevi, don't just, I mean, I always bring multiple decks with me. I mainly play my Borborygmos now, because even though my my Prosh deck isn't the most broken thing on the planet, it's still a pretty very competitive deck in my eyes. And I just, I don't want that experience for I don't want to ruin people's experience by just bashing them in and stuff like that, especially when they haven't even dipped their feet into the format. It's not right. So yeah, definitely think about the other players when it comes to that. And yeah, once again, hope you guys got something out of this. And yeah, just let me know what you think down below in the comments. And like, favorite, and subscribe. And you guys take it easy. Bye.